Emma, head of marketing at 8Fig, and we are having another episode of Chilada Chats. I'm here with Jacob Johnson, the co-founder of Glitch Energy, the energy drink. You want to give like a little Glitch spiel? We love that.
Yeah, so Glitch is a powdered-based energy drink supplement brand. We also have a hydration formula as well. Launched in the gaming community, behind the creator Wildcat in the gaming space, and we launched about 2 years ago and growing pretty quick.
And growing ever since. Amazing. So before we literally dig in, I like to do like a few quick questions, just like fun ones. Just kind of say what comes to mind.
Okay, I'm all for these. So.
Yeah, don't think about it too hard. Spirit animal.
Lion.
Lion, why?
Because my birthday's in August.
Oh, okay. So does that mean you're a Leo?
Yeah, I don't really follow any of that, but I know a Leo. So
I mean, that's good, yeah.
I just like lions.
Yeah, because like if you're a Pisces and you're like, I'm a fish. Yeah. Like, I'm a sea goat, so.
I don't even know what that is.
Capricorn.
Oh, okay.
Oh, what like a sea goat is? I don't either. Next question, dream vacation.
Mountains or the beach.
Okay, I feel like you have to be specific.
Okay, more specific, probably like Italy.
Italy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Italy.
right.
Yeah.
You haven't been yet, but you're planning on it.
Yeah.
Okay. What is your favorite food?
Oh gosh.
First thing.
Barbecue.
Barbecue. Specifically, what thing?
Brisket.
That's great. And we're in Texas. Does Nashville have good brisket?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah? Okay. I wonder who's better, but
probably.
You don't really hear about Nashville brisket.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. It's in the South, so I feel
yeah,
like food in the South is good,
regardless.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, well, I'm gonna start it off first with so just to if you guys haven't seen the show, which like I feel like a lot of people have by now. So we usually it's straight up just a knockoff of Hot Ones. So we have a Yellowbird, which is a local Austin hot sauce, who one day they'll sponsor us one day.
My wife loves Yellowbird.
Oh yeah, it's so good. So many flavors, Yellowbird. So this one is an organic garlic, cucumber, and lime blend. And so this is like our chillest one. So go for it. You just we'll just kind of cruise through and awesome. So
it's not gonna be very hot, I don't think.
Yeah, no, this one's not gonna be bad. If you have a hard time, then it's like really not good.
Then I'm gonna have a really hard time this next few.
You're gonna have a really hard time. Cool. So I guess to kick it off. So Glitch is, super interesting. I think maybe I'll give us a second. I never know to talk, and then we'll give ourselves a second to just take a bite. Oh, not as cool as I thought. It's good. You like it?
Very good. Yeah.
You're a hot sauce person, right? Mm-hmm. You said your family harvested chili peppers.
Well, it wasn't like a commercial farming operation or anything.
Yeah, no. Okay, it was like a little backyard.
My dad grew jalapenos and habaneros.
Okay.
He would make us eat them.
Okay.
He would eat them whole, and I would.
So you're primed and ready for this moment is kind of like what your dad was preparing you for.
I mean, he's probably gonna be disappointed if he watches it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take it as well as he does.
Just so you guys know, Jacob opted out of having milk, so we're setting ourselves up. Okay, anyway, so let's just dive into Glitch. So let's kind of hear your founding story, where did the idea come from? How did you get started?
Yeah. So it was actually I just kind of finished up college, and I ran a drone inspection business through college where we did drone inspections for cell towers and power lines and construction sites, stuff like that. And then we dissolved that. I was always been very entrepreneurial, was looking for kind of the next thing. I was a college athlete, and so I was really big into health and fitness and a big supplement nerd. And so, and then I was also big into gaming, and started looking into the space, and there was only a few major competitors in the space, and looking at the formulas, I thought that there was room for innovation, and started digging into it. Came across this patented ingredient called dynamine, which is a really innovative ingredient that we formulated around. So I ordered that, just the raw powder off Amazon, and my college roommate probably thought I was dealing drugs out of our place.
Yeah.
Tried that, and it was incredible, and then basically said, okay, I want to figure out how to make a product around this. And then all the while, one of my good friends in college that I played college basketball with, Zach, he was best friends growing up with our other partner Tyler, or Wildcat, the YouTuber, and so always had in the back of my mind, okay, if a big creator were to get behind a product in this space that was innovative and very well branded, I think that there's opportunity to grow pretty quickly without a lot of marketing spend. Especially like if you make the best product possible, the chances of somebody coming back again are really, really high. And like the best form of marketing is product, in my opinion. I think it's really hard to market without good product. You can get somebody to buy anything usually once, but after that, like it's really tough. So talked to Zach and called him up. I was like, hey, I got this crazy idea. I don't really know how we're gonna make it happen, but one, I need like a little bit of cash because I don't even know how to, like I'm a broke college kid, like we just dissolved my previous business where I made like no money off of.
Wait, what was your previous business?
It was the drone inspection business.
Oh, the drone, okay.
So, and then it was like, hey, like one, can you give me like $5,000 so we can go figure out samples, because like I had no money at the time and I was about to get married too, so it's a crazy time. And then I said, hey, could you potentially set up a pitch with Tyler? Do you think he'd be interested in this? And he said, well, yeah, I just helped him move down to Nashville, and he was just talking about getting involved in businesses outside of YouTube. And so fast forward, we did a soft launch, I think in 2019. Tyler did like one video and we sold out a product. And the product, like we thought it was good because it went from idea to physical product. And it was like this really like, emotional, like romantic experience where it was like, wow, we just made something come to life. Yeah. And I think we were a little bit high on our own supply early on. The formula was good, but the flavoring had some left to be desired. And so we just wanted to get to market though and get feedback and see what people thought. And so we sold out. We were out of stock for like 4 months, and then restocked, revamped the flavor a little bit, and then sold out of that very quickly. And then ended up 2020, we were like, okay, we need to either raise money or figure this out, because both Zach and I were working full-time jobs still. We weren't full-time Glitch, and we're just like, okay, we really need to either take this 100% and commit to it, or call it a day. And so we started trying to raise money early 2020, and then the pandemic happened, and then it got a little bit crazy, and I was probably really bad at pitching at the time too. Like I'd never raised capital before, so I didn't really have the experience. And late 2020 ended up securing some capital, and then started working with AFIG, and we declined a VC deal because of AFIG, which was super cool for us. So I think we were like one of your first customers, at least the first Shopify customer early on. But yeah, then we launched full scale in 2021, February 2021, and then just kind of took off after that. Wow. Rebranded, reformulated a little bit, and made the product, 10 times better than what it was previously. Took a lot of feedback from that, and quit my job and went all in, and then we launched in February and really haven't looked back since.
Wow. Quite the journey. Yeah, thanks for the play-by-play.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
I'm kind of curious, like, I think the working with a creator is like ingenious, because I think part of the hardest thing of getting your product out is having an audience. So to already have a founder who has an audience and that fits the product that you're creating, like where did that idea come from? Did you have inspiration, or?
That's a really good question. I've never had anybody ask that. I'm trying to think about where my approach was. I think really it was just like an aha moment with me was, if we make a really good product and then Tyler could get behind it. I just knew that Zach had a connection with Tyler, and there was a real relationship there. And in the creator space too, like a lot of the big creators in the gaming space or beyond, like, I mean, they know each other, but a lot of them are, they're celebrities, right? Yeah. So it's not like you can just like go knock on their door and be like, hey, you want to be involved in our business, right? Like you have to have a warm intro, and it's a really, like, trust is really, really important there. Just because there's a reputational risk too when you involve a creator in their audience, and like they have to really believe and stand behind your product. So it was kind of hand in hand, right? We knew we could get the attention and distribution and tap into Tyler's community, but in order to do that, we had to make an exceptionally good product that people truly loved and he truly believed in. And if there's any gap between those two things, like, consumers aren't stupid. They can see through the BS and see when you're just trying to push when you're trying to push a product, right? And so that was the biggest thing was, and then fast forward a few years later, as we've kind of launch and scale, like you've seen a lot of creator-owned businesses pop up.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's been a huge thing. I think people started realizing with iOS 14 and the tracking issues that came along with that update from a Facebook ad standpoint, a lot of people started freaking out. And our business is minimal paid ads. It's a lot of it is influencer driven, and we had a little bit of defensibility early on. I think when most brands were like freaking out, where 80% of their marketing budget was on paid ads, and all of a sudden they can't figure out where a sale came from an attribution standpoint.
Because you already owned that community, or at least like had access to the community outside of just paying per the purchases. Yeah, so that's awesome. So you mentioned a few times I like what you said about, your product is the biggest like marketing capability, which like as a marketer, like of course we'll always argue, but like you can sell like anything, but whether they're gonna come back obviously relates to the quality of the product. And you said kind of the first batch you made, like you guys were kind of just like, into it because it's your baby, but you realized it wasn't as good as it could be. So how do you make sure you do have the best product? Like, how do you make sure your audience wants what you're creating? Yeah,
so that's a great question. I think it's kind of threefold, right? Number one, you have to have some level of emotional intelligence around, like, you have to look at it as objective as possible. And the best way that you can do that is get feedback from other people. Mm-hmm. So, and honest and real feedback, I think, is super important. That's kind of what we thought. We had a good product. We thought the formula was really great early on. The flavoring was good, but what we came to find out was flavoring was super important, especially in our target demographic. Flavor really does matter, and some industries and some demographics, it doesn't matter as much. Kind of like we were talking about at dinner last night. In ours, it really did matter, and so just taking that feedback. I would say number two is. You don't know what you don't know, and you need to talk to experts that do know what you lack. And so it's a level of humility, I would say, as a founder when you're trying to create a product and saying hey, I don't know it all, I don't have it all figured out. We went and approached the team at Compound Solutions, who owns Dynamine, the patent on Dynamine, the ingredient. We came to them and they were super gracious in helping us make our formula and product and flavoring better, connecting us to the right suppliers and flavor houses and all sorts of stuff to kind of make a product what it is. Especially in the supplement space, because there's a lot of variables. And I did a lot of my research. I had some background on the science behind some of these ingredients and how we wanted to formulate, but they came in and they have a staff and some doctors on staff and formulators that came in and said, okay, we like where your head was at, here's what we would change. If your goal is to make the best product possible, this is how you do it, right? And so and then the third is if you're getting a creator partner involved, they have to love it. And so whenever we work with new creators, how we work with them is we send the product first, no strings attached. We're hey, we don't even want to work with you if you don't love the product. Because if you don't love the product, your audience is going to tell.
That's so true. It's always very, it is just so easy to tell when someone's pitching, or there's a creator who's pitching a lot of different things. They're always, they're I love to go on slides. And you're no, she doesn't. She hates that.
Right.
Amazing. Okay, so I will move us along to our next one, which is habanero, which is still not that hot.
Okay.
It's pretty good. I'd say the yellowbird ones are all very tasty, and then the bomb is where things get a little wild. Awesome. Oh, I had 17 questions while you were talking, but so when we were chatting a little bit last night, but you were talking about how, launching Glitch, it was just learning as you're going, and especially with the supply chain, figuring that out. So maybe what were some of the biggest supply chain lessons or maybe mess ups that you experienced that you think other people could learn from?
Yeah, that's a great one. And there's been a lot of them. So failure is kind of a prerequisite to success, I would say, in some aspect, right? Especially when you're growing and trying to figure out things of different experiences, supply chain, for example, that I didn't have a lot of exposure to. I came from the financial world. I worked at Schwab as a financial advisor, mostly in sales, and had no exposure to supply chain operations, etc. And I think what I wish I would have asked my younger self was, or what I wish I would have known, I would say, is to go to somebody that has already been there, which I had the potential connections. It was just like maybe some naivety of understanding how supply chain works, how to work with suppliers, and just asking, mentors, what do you see that I don't? Because early on, I like to kind of operate in frameworks in business and different decisions. So one of the main frameworks I use is it a closed door or open door decision? So closed door meaning obviously like once you make it, it's going to be very hard to unwind this decision. It might be 6-12 months in the making. And then if it's open door, you can pivot quickly and go back on that or change your approach, etc. What you really want to be careful of is decisions that you think are open door that are actually closed and vice versa. And supply chain, a lot of decisions in supply chain sometimes boil down to closed door decisions because you're allocating capital and resources to something that you're not going to get for 8, 12, 16 weeks. And that's a really, those are really important decisions, especially as you're growing, because working capital becomes quite the constraint because as you're growing, you have to allocate more and more resources to inventory. And when you make poor decisions on inventory, which there were times early on where working with the first supplier that we did, we had really high minimum order quantities, and I just didn't know any better. I just thought like, oh, that's how it is, and didn't even think twice to question it. And in reality, we switched to a new supplier that had much lower order quantities. Maybe it was a little bit more expensive, but it was worth the flexibility from a lead time standpoint, and the quality was still great as well. And so you just don't find those things out until you start to dive in and ask questions. And really, you just like a good mentor that has done it before can save you a lot of time and heartache for sure.
Do you have a mentor you want to give like a shout out to?
There's a lot of them. They're like I think there's like individual mentors which I have that maybe aren't in the e-commerce space or some in. I like to get a lot of different perspectives, sometimes a perspective outside the space you're in, and for somebody that's really successful in business regardless, like kind of opens your eyes to what you're not seeing.
Yeah, it's true.
I think the best thing though is like YouTube and the internet is like, they just it's just so many resources out there. Right? Like there's so many people out there that talk about one podcast I listen to all the time is the Operators podcast, and it's for 9-figure e-commerce brand operators, and they just talk about what they learned from 0 to 9 figures, and like that stuff is gold. Like some people might think it's boring to talk about supply chain and finance and like all the details around that, but like those are the decisions that really make or break things for you in the long term, for sure.
Do you remember any of those like closed door decisions that you thought were open door for supply chain that ended up being closed door?
Yeah, so one of those is product for sure. So when we did a soft launch in May of 2019, like we thought we had a great product, which the formula was pretty good, but like I didn't know what I didn't know, right? I was just kind of playing dorm room chemist before we launched. And that was one of those things where it's really hard. So that's kind of twofold. Your product formulation and changing your product, that can take a long time, and those are like a lot of closed door decisions that you might feel more open door because like, oh yeah, I can change my product. But what happens when you order 10,000 units of something, and now you have all these labels and all the raw ingredients, and now and then you get them in stock and you're like, wait, we want to pivot, right? And so that's why, like from a pillar standpoint, I think product's the most important. Like if you got to get your product right, and you got to constantly innovate around it and think 12 months down the line, like what new product could I potentially launch? How can I make my product better? But those are like longer term decisions, and you're constantly innovating there. And then the second is like, marketing distribution. So how can you get your product in front of the right audience at the right time? And if you do that and your product's great, like people will come back to buy it. So the product I think would be the big one, and then that kind of falls into supply chain too, because those are hard decisions to unwind, especially as you're scaling, because you're making really high value decisions that could completely change like your cash flow 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 3 months down the line. Right?
Supply chain is not the most flexible thing.
No, it's very hard, especially when we launched in the middle of 2021. So
where everything is just
it was
insane. I feel like we're still I don't know. You know, people call it like a post-pandemic world, but it's still like pretty pandemic-y. You never really know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But ghost pepper is the next one. It's called ghost pepper, but if you've had ghost pepper, this is like ghost pepper light.
Okay.
You know, so but feel free to just go wild with it. Yeah, I'll let you do your thing, and then.
Is that enough, you think?
Bite. Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah.
Okay.
The only one you really need it, like it's got a kick. Like I felt a kick. How did you like the last one, by the way? Last sauce.
Oh, it was great. Yeah.
It was
Tasted
good.
amazing.
It's like, yeah, not bad. I'm gonna take a bite of this. What do you think?
Very good.
Good. Yeah.
A little hot.
A little hot. It's getting there.
Yeah. A little spicy.
But you're like born for this, so. You're fine.
I kind of nerd out over product, right? And I think like, okay, if they want to sell a lot of this, like they're not going to make it too hot, right? Because most people won't buy it.
That's true.
Or they'll buy it once and they won't come back.
Yeah. What are some products that you are kind of like your icon products?
I was telling you guys about this one last night. Is the truff hot sauce.
Oh yeah.
So
like
good.
truffle.
Yeah, it's truffle infused hot sauce, and that one's really good.
Truff.
They've got like truffle infused mayonnaise now.
You can infuse anything.
Pasta sauce, like
yeah.
Yeah. So they've like really expanded their product line, and I've tried most of it.
Truffle infused glitch. How was that?
That would probably taste disgusting. So, unless it was truffle flavored.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't really thought about that one.
Yeah. Well, truff is a good one. Yeah. You said you like their branding, right?
Yeah, branding is incredible. A brand that I've been following recently and my wife loves too, and what we both do, but she really like she has one like every day. It's Midday Squares. I don't know if you've heard of that brand.
Midday Squares.
Yeah.
Actually, 2 episodes ago, someone, Michelle from Skew and Naturally Curly, I was just rewatching the edit, so it's like super fresh in my mind, but she just mentioned them because they had like a really interesting like marketing strategy. But
yeah,
what were you saying about that?
They just got awesome branding, and by brand I mean like brand is just community in my mind. Like when you launch a brand, like visuals are great, like
good quote.
But it's all about the community and like that what they built in the organic social strategy. Like we take a lot of inspiration from them, and it's just really interesting how they've approached it all.
Yeah.
And, like just pulling back the curtain and like showing everything is super cool to me as a founder, where it's like we didn't really do that early on with Glitch, and we're starting to like dabble more into that. But brands that like just go all in. Another company that I'm like really big fan of is Ghost Lifestyle or Ghost Supplements, and so they're like technically one of our competitors, maybe at least some of their product line. But like I took a ton of inspiration from them when we launched.
How humble of you.
They're awesome. And
Wait, are they a supplement? What are they?
So they've got pre-workout, hydration, BCAAs, protein. They're in canned energy drinks too, and they have an amazing brand. Sorry, this is a little hot.
Ah, look at that.
I'm good now.
The expert. Remember, he didn't want any milk. Wait, are you ready for? How are we on timing? I like to space it out. We're good.
Okay.
I like to have my most boring, hard to focus on questions while we're consuming this one. So this one's a really hot one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I always like to read off how many Scoville units it is. Where is it?
Probably in the millions.
No, actually just a 6-digit Scoville.
Oh,
135,600.
Okay.
That's like doable. Be careful. Last time I did it, it hurt and it was fine, and then I got like a little bit of heartburn.
I can smell it from here.
Oh yeah, it was like really violent heartburn.
So habaneros.
But I feel like I'll be better this time around.
Okay.
Yeah, so they say just like a little dab will do, but like you can do more than a little dab. I mean,
No, that's all I'm doing.
That's all.
No more. Should I do
You
more?
like grew up on the pepper farm and.
No, my dad loved it. He made me eat it.
All right, yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry, I'll do the same amount.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you picked like the smallest piece of food to put it on, which is not
Yeah,
prohibitive
I'm
in my
gonna
opinion.
maybe add some food to that.
We're gonna like do a little bit. Okay. Okay. So the question I have for you. So you mentioned, because yeah, you are one of our early customers, and we're like thrilled to have you here in Austin. But okay, maybe let's eat it, and then I'll try to remember the question.
Okay.
All right. I probably should have gotten some milk. But this was dumb.
That's hot.
It's pretty good at first, and then it like, do you feel it? It like goes down the esophagus.
Yeah, it burns a little bit.
It like burns.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a good flavor though at first.
It is. It's like a smoky. Like,
It's a smoky, like almost tangy.
Yeah. Might start sweating though.
Yeah. Oh, we've had quite a few sweaters.
Really?
We've had criers.
Sweaters and criers.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Oh
I
yeah.
was weeping.
Really?
Yeah, we had a guy who like
Hot.
his
Okay,
jaw.
it's hot.
Okay, well we can always have some more. Okay, so the question was, he made the decision to go with AFIG instead of an investor.
Mhm.
So curious as to like how you made that decision. What? Are my eyes like watering a little? It's like really great talking about supply chain when like your eyes are. But yeah,
It just keeps getting
no,
hotter. and hotter.
I know it's right because it's like you're like this is not bad, and no milk necessary, right?
No, probably maybe later. Yeah. So how we made that decision? So.
There it is. I was like, he's fine. I don't even see a drop of sweat. My eyes are like red.
I'm getting there.
Once I
I
got
didn't
it
have
in
very
my
much.
eye, that was terrible.
That?
Oh yeah,
That's not good.
just don't touch your face.
I'm not going to. We didn't like. We've always wanted to grow Glitch bootstrapped. I don't think we ever really wanted to bring on outside investors, and mostly because like we just wanted like we had a really specific way we wanted to do things from building our brand. And the moment you take on outside capital in the form of VC, like you just lose a lot of flexibility. Of that.
Yeah.
So I think the bigger thing was we had a pretty good offer on the like it was a 7-figure offer. Maybe it wasn't the best deal terms, but like at that point we had done a little over 6 figures in revenue over the last like 12 months just from our previous launches and like soft launches, and we're like full scale launching this time around. So to get that type of offer early on was I think a pretty big deal, but we were just like we didn't really feel great about it. Come to find out the offer that we did have, the VC firm that we were going to work with actually ended up parting ways and like starting different funds, which would have been a nightmare for us. I think.
Oh God, yeah. Thank goodness.
Yeah. So and then it was kind of like right place, right time. I think Liron Hirschkorn actually introduced me to Rowie, and that was.
I think of him some kudos.
I haven't talked to Liron in a while, but good guy. Introduced me to Rowie, and they're like, yeah, we can, finance your inventory through whatever we were planning out to, and I was like, this is kind of too good to be true, and we looked into it and did our homework, and we're like, yeah, we can do this, and so looking back, we got the offer from AFIG, and then it wasn't even AFIG at the time. I think it was like operating under a different name early on. Like this is before dashboards.
Yeah.
I was giving him a plan in like Excel basically.
Yeah, just two startups working together.
Yeah, and but yeah, we were able to get an offer from AFIG and then go back and decline the VC offer, and I think it worked out really well for us. So
yeah,
it couldn't have gone better, I would say.
Awesome.
I'm glad we didn't take it. And
love that.
Yeah, so.
And you've maintained full control
Mhm.
of the company,
Yeah.
which is. Have you heard any horror stories of like people going through like the investor route and things like? I don't know. I'm kind of just curious. I'm like, tell us the dirt.
Well, I mean, there's public horror stories, right? Like you've got like Casper Mattress, and there's some other like big mattress like D2C mattress brands that like scaled off VC money and tried just spending marketing dollars at an exorbitant rate just to hit a growth rate that the VCs wanted to then get acquired or IPO. And I think I want to say Casper IPO'd and then like lost like half of its market value in like a matter of 6 months or something like that. I could be wrong on those numbers, but I know it was substantial.
Yeah.
And it was because like I don't think the VC model for SaaS businesses like makes a lot of sense, right? Like,
yeah.
And somebody like AFig, taking on capital, like you almost need it in those type of business models. But for e-commerce, like if you get a product to market and launch it, like you can cash flow a lot of your growth, and then if you have partners like AFig that can help finance inventory as you grow and be just a growth partner for you, like you don't need to take on VC capital. And then I think there's a lot of other brands out there that have just like grown, like Manscaped is one of them. They're a great brand. Like I don't know their exact financials, but I think they were VC backed. Dollar Shave Club was another one, like a big one that people saw.
Oh yeah.
They just spent exorbitant amount of marketing dollars,
acquiring
customers for very negative, just expecting that their lifetime value would increase over time. And I don't know. I'm a big proponent of being first order profitable. I think like if you can't build a product and a marketing strategy to be first order profitable, it's just not worth pursuing. I don't think.
What is just first order profitable?
So a little bit of finance nerdy stuff.
Let's hear it.
It's so if your retail value of your product, so you sell it. Let's say you sell a product for $100, and then your product costs on that are $50, let's say, and then maybe your transaction fees are $5, and you got your shipping cost for that is another $10 or something like that. So maybe you're $65 in, and then you have $45 of what's called growth profit or contribution margin, where you can spend X amount of this $45 on advertising and be first order profitable. And then some people like to factor in, okay, what's our fixed cost per month across, each individual day. And you can start to do this analysis every day when you're acquiring new customers of, are we first order profitable? Because if you can be first order profitable and you have a product like ours, where our returning customer rate continues to go like through the roof, where people are reordering more and more, you can start to forecast out like, what does it look like if I can just get a customer for free, where maybe I don't make a ton of profit on it the first month, but month 2 through 6, I make another 50% on what they spent, the first month. And so you can start to calculate that.
Yeah.
And a lot of these brands will be negative on their first order, where they're like, they might acquire a customer for $100 and it costs, and the product retail value is 50. So they're like 50% negative on that first order, expecting that their lifetime value will increase. And sometimes it just doesn't. Like that's too risky of a game to play. And early on, VCs were kind of expecting you, like if you took venture capital in the 7-figure increments, like they were expecting you to spend money to grow at a certain growth rate, so that they can in 3 to 5 years you can exit that business to other private equity, and then the VCs can get paid and all their investors. And there's just a lot of pressure when you take money from a VC firm, because the general partners are operating the firm and the fund, but then they have pressure from their limited partners that are investing into the fund, that are asking them to deploy capital on their behalf into brands like ours. And there's just like layers of pressure and growth pressure, where if you grow really fast and you want to pull off the gas and make more profit, you can do that when you're bootstrapped. But when you have venture capital, like
you have to keep going.
There's no pulling back. And usually you can't really pull value from the business unless you get acquired. Like that's kind of once you take on VC money, it's like you're either going for an exit or you're going for bankruptcy. And there's really not one. There's kind of one or the other.
That's a good way of putting it. And definitely true for SaaS companies. Just the pressure. That's why we're having that like implosion right now, is like money was like just free for a while. Or just like, oh, you said the word AI, like here, have millions. And they didn't have a product, and so now everything's kind of imploding.
It is
amazing. But like I say, like nature is healing, like it needed to happen,
well, cream rises to the top, right? And
cream rises to the top.
That's
a good one. I was gonna ask you, okay, well that was good. I feel like we're through it's not that hot. You probably did the best. I know, I was like, should we do a little more? No? Okay. Okay, fine. Do you have any no, I'm gonna do it by myself. It's kind of like, let's do it, but no, that's fine. Do you have any, now we're just wrapping up, do you have any words of wisdom or things that like you like seem rise to the top, but just things that you think really like embodies just kind of building a company or what you need to focus on or things that you think about to kind of like put yourself on the right track?
Yeah, so probably the best piece of advice, and I'm stealing this from a guy named Alex Hormozy. He's really big into the business education scene, and I don't know him personally, but he puts out a lot of amazing content that I consume, and he's got this framework that I've kind of taken on too and advised others on was you can only grow within like the rungs of a ladder where one side is character traits, the middle rungs might be skills, and then the other side is beliefs. And as an entrepreneur or founder, like you can only grow to the limiting bottleneck of that. So if you have great high value skills and really good character traits of focus and discipline and all of that stuff, but your belief in the business becoming successful or your ability to make it on your own and quit your corporate job or whatever it might be, like belief would be a limiting factor, or just the belief of like, hey, I don't think this is a great opportunity, or I might, whatever it might be. A lot of people have limiting beliefs I think around themselves when it comes, especially in entrepreneurship. Like I think the reason some entrepreneurs are very successful is because they kind of ride the line between optimistic and delirious. And you get too close to delirious, you can't usually go back. But that I would say, like, when you're thinking about that, it's like really being honest with yourself, like what's your bottleneck in life, whether it's in entrepreneurship or in any other thing that you're pursuing from a goal standpoint, is because if it's a skills are easy to acquire. Maybe not easy, but like
all of them,
it's simple, right? If you want to go learn how to run Facebook ads, like there's so much free resources out there, right? You want to learn on how to marketing is, I think, a prime example where it's like marketing changes so fast, so you almost going to college for marketing. Like I took obviously some marketing classes in college, and like they were good foundational stuff. Like you need to learn basic marketing, but you can also learn that on YouTube, and then anything else 100%. Like specific to whatever you're doing or whatever you want to pursue, like that's all on free stuff. So probably most of the stuff that I consume from an education standpoint is from Alex Hormozy and his YouTube channel, and he just launched a new book recently that he released for free with a bunch of training. And you just like, if you're thinking about starting a company, kind of wrap that up is make the best product you possibly can and spend the extra time. Like it took us a while to get to market with Glitch, but we really were intentional about making the best product that we could. And I think it's super important because that's one thing that if you make I like to give the example of if you could only sell one customer and that was your business model and you expected that customer to tell their friends about it and that's how your business had to grow, how would you approach it? And you'd make the absolute best product possible, right? And then if it's like, okay, if you wanted to sell that product, but you have to make it a 1/10 of the cost and 10 times more valuable, how would you think about your product? Yeah. And it's those like mental exercises of approaching your product where it really kind of alleviates any bias that you might have. And it's like, this has to be extremely valuable for the customer. And if you think customers will tell their friends about it, then that's the best marketing strategy. Yeah. So. That's great. I love that. Some good words of wisdom. All right. Yeah. Well, do you want to kind of say any like last things, like your, I don't know, like shout out to your website or. You can check us out at glitchenergy.co. Follow us on socials at glitchenergy.co. And you should try it. You'll really love it. Try it. We put a lot of time into the product. So. Yeah, it's the best product. Yeah. Amazing. Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining. Yeah.